Hello, welcome to another one of our videos, and today's another one of our examples of a variation you can use with farmer's walks and loaded carries. So this is where we're sort of combining a loaded carry and a farmer's walk or a suitcase walk at the same time. So there's a couple of different things going on here, and I'll take you through it. So firstly, with the loaded carry, we'll see Nathan just walk. It's fairly simple. All you need to do is just use the appropriate load and then just walk as normal as you can up and back. So we've asked him to come up and back. I think he's going to turn around with the same hands. Normally we might get him to walk further, but just for the sake of the video I've asked him to just stay where I can sort of see him. So what's happening here is there's a bit of a double whammy. Alright, so both exercises, so the loaded carry is where he's got the kettlebell in the rack position holding it there, and the suitcase lift is obviously with the farmer's walk handle there. Now this is obviously the load is trying to pull his shoulders down, so he's really got to lock in around the back here in his back muscles to hold it well and keep his posture in that nice position. Alright, on the other side, because the load's not being pulled down, he's actually sort of pushing it up and holding it in stiff. He's actually almost got like an opposing, and you'll see on the next one that will definitely will be an opposing force. This is where it's a unique sort of exercise in that because they're working against each other, they actually try to, if you've got a bit of a scoliosis sort of form happening, or pelvic length or leg length discrepancy, all those sort of things that you might see, this exercise, I wouldn't say it fixes it, but it definitely corrects it at the time, because it works. In order for him to walk, they have to be well balanced. And you'll see on the next version that we'll use, where he's going to switch hands now and put the farmer's walk in the other handle, and he's going to grab the kettlebell and put it over his head. So what he's going to do, so what this will create is an effect where we're going to have that opposite, a pushing and pulling effect at the same time. So one sort of, so don't just think of the shoulder here, very much the pelvis and the glutes are huge. So there's a deadlift to begin with anyway. So you can see this is a lot more difficult because he's got to try and hold that kettlebell right up above his head there. So this is where you can sort of see here how his shoulder is like in a static shoulder press, and you can see how that part of his shoulder is rising up and the other one is being pulled down. So let's say, for example, and Nathan doesn't have an imbalance, but let's say he did, where he had a depressed shoulder, so he was sort of more like that, and you start to see his spine sort of twist around, or we might even see it might even be from the pelvis that's created this problem. But usually we might see it in the shoulder, especially people who do a lot of throwing sports, where that arm is being really heavily pulled down. This is where we actually get to create the symmetry and just get him to hold it. So his stabilizers are really working extremely hard to make sure everything doesn't move around. And like I said, don't disregard what's going on with the legs, even though they don't feel fatigued like you would with lunges or squats or something. They are definitely working, because if you start swinging around at the hips there, it makes it impossible to stabilize the load. So that's why this is such a unique form of exercise, as are all of the lifts, the farmer's walks, the loaded carries on their own. So we could have done a bottoms up kettlebell, which would have been a lighter kettlebell and arguably harder. And obviously we've got the suitcase lift a bit lighter than normal, so you can hold it for longer, because the opposite arm is going to be the challenge, and trying to keep it all stable and still. So a great sort of variation in your training. If you're someone who's got a depressed shoulder or that hip hike happening, both of these might be a great way. The suitcase lift on its own is a great one for that person with a hitchhike and the hip hike, which we've shown before on one of our other videos. So adding the little kettlebell to the mix just takes it up a notch. All right, so it's a great way to sort of include it into your workouts, not as fatiguing as the other ones, but more fatiguing in a different way, as it's hitting the smaller muscles instead of the bigger ones. All right, so anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video and it helps you out with a few things, and we'll see you on the next one.